Welcome back, everyone. Great to have you here today on the show. We are getting started with episode 14 of the Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here on our mission to not only be able to help health coaches, personal trainers, doctors, nurses, registered dietitians, you name it, any health professional around the world to become better at what they do through the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. But we also want to make sure that they're a success. And that means in their career, with their financials, the income to not only, like I said, be able to change lives, but to make sure that they're able to support themselves as well. So today's show actually dives into the topic of how to know how much to charge as a health coach. So there's no perfect way to answer this, but I'm going to give you about a half a dozen different ways to decide for you, because this is a personal answer, as to what you should charge. So by the end of this show, about 20 minutes from now, you should know exactly how much you are going to put out there as the price for your services. And I'll also allude back to a couple of other shows today of how to put together your packages for services, because that really gives you a better understanding of how you're able to charge more as well. So that is going to be, let's just see here. One-page business plan for coaches. That's a great one to start on. That was episode 004. You're welcome to check that one out as well. All right, so let's just get right into it. Let's just start, and then let's see here. 3 easiest ways to charge for your services. Just last week, episode 12. So definitely check that one out too. And we're going to go out over now this individual topic, this very specific topic of how to know how much to charge as a health coach for you. Okay, so we know of the ways to charge. Now, how do you know how much you should charge? Well, here's the thing. And I spoke about this last week too in episode 12. So definitely check out those 2 previous podcasts. I will link up everything today, previous podcast as well, at ihp.coach/014. And for all previous podcasts, head on over to ihp.coach/podcasts. Okay, so here's what you want to think about. The going rate for most health coaches is between $99 and $490 per hour. Okay, so let's just think about that for a second, because there's a lot of room in between those numbers. $99, so just under $100 for psychological purposes, to $490, just under $500 for psychological purposes. So why is it, though, that some health coaches and practitioners are charging close to $500, while others are charging $100? That's enormous difference, meaning like the person charging $100 has to work with 5 times the amount of people and do 5 times the amount of work than the person working with one person at $500. And you're absolutely correct. However, most people do not get to come right out of the gates, right out of their certifications as a new health coach or personal trainer or practitioner and charge $490 an hour. And here's why. Typically in the beginning, when you have more time, right? When you have more time, you want to be able to work with as many clients as possible. And the reason is that every person you get in front of allows you the opportunity to help them create a success story for themselves. And the more success stories that you create, meaning the more people you're able to help, the more people they tell about your services. Because great health practitioners have amazing word-of-mouth businesses. That means for every person they work with on average, they might get 1 referral. Now, some people never refer anyone. That's understandable. Some people, though, they'll refer half a dozen people. So in the end, it kind of all ends up working out. So what I want to share with you is this. There's 2 ways to look at this, and then I'm going to break them down. If you're just starting out and you need to work with more people to gain experience, you're going to want to charge a little bit less. How much less? We're going to go over that in just a second. So that's really important. And also, if you don't feel comfortable charging a particular price, it's probably not the right price to charge for you. Meaning that when you hear the thought of someone charging $500 an hour, and that kind of like you feel that tightness in your chest and like a little bit of a pullback, well, that just means that you are not in alignment with that yet. So it's a nice little exercise before we go on. Think about it this way. Do you feel comfortable charging $10 an hour? And most people would say yes. Do you feel comfortable charging $100 an hour? Some people might say, maybe not. Okay, let's go down. Do you feel comfortable charging $40 an hour for your services? And you say yes. Okay. $100. A lot of people say yes. What about $180? Yes. A lot of people might say, okay, I can do that. What about $290? Well, $290, no, not so much. So everybody has an upper threshold for what their comfort level is in this present moment in time. Now, 12 months from now is no longer present moment of today, right? It's future moment of 12 months from now. You might be more comfortable then after you've seen yourself help clients get amazing results. You've helped 100, 200, 1,000 people get great results. Well, if you've done that, you might feel you're now more deserving of that higher price per hour. But I'm going to let you decide that. Here's how you can do it though. You want to make this a little bit more scientific. So you're going to look at, let's say you're a personal trainer. You're going to, and let's say it's local, it's not online. So you're going to look in your local community. What is the going rate for a 1 hour or 45-minute or 30-minute personal training session? And let's say you look at every single place in your area, because why not? And you call and just like, hey, how much is it per personal training session or package? And you say, oh, some are $200 an hour. One person was $450. A lot of them are $49. We've got a bunch at $79, and the majority, I would say, is around $99. Okay, so now you get to decide. You get to see all of them. And what is the average? You might say, well, the average actually looks at to be $94. Okay, so your job now is to decide based on your certifications, based on your education, based on your professionalism, or a package that you put together, what you feel is appropriate for you to charge. But also, how many clients are willing to pay that? So the person who's charging $450, there might only be 10% of all personal training clients that's willing to pay that price. Now, they need to make sure that they can get in front of those 10% of people. That's the big thing. If not, well, then they're not going to be able to charge that no matter how great they are, right? So that's a big thing. So, and again, this is practical knowledge, because when I opened up my first nutrition and training center back in 2006, 2007, I did this exact, it's called the competitive market analysis, right? So competitive market analysis or comparative market analysis, they do it in real estate, but of course you get your price of your home, but you can also find the price of personal training. And I found that the average was somewhere between $80 and $100. Now, there were certainly some people charging 15, 16 years ago, $200 or more. But I said, you know what? We don't have any clients right now, and I want to work with clients, and I want my team to work with clients. So we're going to charge $79 per hour. And that's exactly what we did. Sorry, per 45 minutes. And then what we did from there is a year later, once we started to get busy, we charged $89, still well within that $80 to $100. But now what? We're getting more referrals. We're building up a brand name. People know about us now. They understand the level of service that we're able to provide. So now here's what we did though. This is one of the reasons why we were just very, very successful, doing over 10,000 appointments a year in just a small studio. We enabled our clients to realize they were getting a package of services. They weren't just getting a personal training session. They were getting their nutrition, their outside of studio workouts. They were getting tech support, email support. They were getting meal plans. They were getting it all for $89 per session. That's what it came out to be. But it was really a package that they were getting. So they were paying $356, $712, or $1,036, I believe. I still remember it to this day. I believe that's right. I think the math is right. And so that's what people purchased. They purchased a package, and it was for 12 weeks long. I talked about this last week as well, the 3 easiest ways to charge for your services in episode 12. So I'm not going to go through that today. But then what happened? Well, years went by. Eventually, rates went up. Not for my newer personal trainers. They still had at least 3 years experience, NASM certification or ACSM or NSCA, but they still charged $89. But my services went up to $129 per 45 minutes, and then $149 per 45 minutes. And so your rates can go up, right, with time. But that's also because I had a completely full schedule. So when I got a referral and someone wanted to work with me and I had a little bit of time in my schedule, well, then this was my rate. But if they didn't want to work with me, that was okay too, because I could still help them work with one of my other great personal trainers. So it's a nice way to look at it. So what I would do is I would do a competitive market analysis. If you're an online integrative health practitioner, what are people charging typically for their appointments? And I can tell you, typically it's between $99 and $490. And the people doing $490 are typically charging for a package, meaning that they're offering you some email support. It might be daily, it might be weekly, it might be tech support. They're offering you check-ins. They're adding more value adds to that. Okay. So that's what it is. I can just let you know from my practice, when I started in functional medicine, integrative health, more than 10 years ago now, I was charging $180 for my services. For a half hour, it was $90. And then after about 8 months, I was getting really booked up. So I went to $290. And that offered email support as well. And it gave them a 1 hour consultation per month with me. So that was what I charged. And then about 3 years later, I charged $490. And then it continued to go up from there. But at the same time, I trained a team of integrative health practitioners, and they would work with people for $180 to $290 based on the particular level as well. So again, I always wanted to offer something for everyone, and I always oversaw all of the labs and the health practitioners' questions, so I felt very comfortable with that. But again, my goal for you is to be within the realm of reason, because if you say, I'm going to charge $10,000 for my appointments because I know it's worth it, and I would say, yeah, I think you're probably right. I actually know he's a chiropractor, and he charges $25,000 for 6 months, and people pay him for that. And it's not a bad deal. I mean, meaning that he's a good guy, runs labs, includes everything with it. We talked a lot about that last week in episode 12. So that's that. And when I had a concierge practice, it was $1,000 per month for that. That included labs, but it didn't include nutritional supplements. So you can really charge what you feel is appropriate for you and the clients that you're looking to work with. So I just want you to know that if you're feeling uncomfortable, charge $99 to start. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fantastic. It is. But just know that people out there are charging $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 for their time. There are people who I just literally, it came across my desk because someone sent it to me. Someone's charging $30,000 for a 90-minute appointment. That's no exaggeration. No exaggeration, $30,000. They're not in the health space. They're in a different space, but still it's $30,000 for a 90-minute consultation. It blew my mind. But again, I'm sure people are paying that. It's just my mind's not at that level yet. So it gave me pause to be like, you know what? And I didn't say that's crazy. I said, good for them. If someone's willing to pay that and they're giving that type of value, then fantastic. I always offered a guarantee with every single one of my consultations. That was always something about me, still is to this day. Everything's guaranteed. If you don't feel like you got $500 worth out of that consultation, let me know at the end of that consultation, and I will not charge you for that appointment. I always told people that, always. So that's that. So again, experience, working with a lot of clients. Are you just starting out? I always recommend charge less than what you eventually want. If you eventually want to be making $290 an hour, good, fantastic. You'll get there. Charge less for right now. Build up your clientele. Get some success stories. Get some experience for yourself. You can always charge more. There's just one more caveat that I want to give you. Do keep in mind that when you charge $99 an hour, let's just call it $100 for easy math because I want easy math, you're really only making $50 of that. And no, I don't mean because of taxes. What I mean is that you're most likely putting in 1 other hour of work in prep time and emails over the course of that month. Let me give you an example. When you get more experience, you won't. You'll be putting in maybe 20 minutes for every hour that you do. And so for me, when I did 40 hours a week of consultations, I had about another, I would say, hour a day. Yeah, I would say about hour a day, maybe hour and a half a day of emails, because your practice starts to grow. So just keep that in mind. But in the beginning, especially if you're new to reading labs, if you're a level 2 IHP, or let's just say you're just prepping for the consultation, reading over appointments and scheduling, and then people have questions about their protocols, then you're spending time through those emails and you're probably not charging for it. So let me get to that in just a moment. So you're making $50 an hour. So just keep that in mind. You're not actually making $99. You're charging the client $99, but you're making $50. So that's not still great money, right? What's 50 times 40? It's $2,000. That's $100,000 a year salary. You're making $100,000 a year if you're doing 40 hours of appointments, right? That's a lot. Remember when I talked to you about designing your dream job? Usually most practitioners can do 20, 25 hours worth of appointments a week. And they're probably going to do another 5 to 10 hours of prep within that time. So just kind of keep that in mind in the grand scheme of things, which is why you want to understand that you probably want to charge for what you want to get paid for your working hours. That's not what a lot of people don't understand that. So, I mean, certainly your clients are going to understand it, and that's okay. It's honestly not really their job to understand that. That's not what they're coming to you for. So if you want to make $90 an hour, you need to charge $180. That's why one of the reasons why I charged $180 is because I wanted to make $100 an hour. I felt that my investment over the past 15 years, it wasn't quite that long, but 15 years of studying natural health before I became a doctor, that it was, $200,000. It was quite the investment. And I know undergrad actually, I'm not counting in that. I'm talking about all the doctor's appointments, all the nutritional supplements, all the labs I ran, then my doctor's degree, then my certifications. Again, when we talk about IHP, there's an investment, but my investment for functional medicine was $35,000. So there's a lot of investments as well for these postdoctoral certifications or your post undergrad or graduate certifications. Like in personal training, I was used to paying like $500 or $800, not $35,000 for additional certifications. But again, learned a lot. I'm appreciative of it. I'm grateful for it, but I wanted to earn $100. I really did. And so I said, okay, if I'm going to be working, and I worked a lot. I don't recommend working 60, 80-hour weeks, but I love what I did. I wanted to do more of it. I wanted to get more experience right away. I wanted to be able to make an income to pay for a lot of the debt I had. And so that's what I did. And so it was kind of like a win-win-win all around. And so I said, okay, at least I want to work 30 hours a week. My team knew I always want to be scheduled for at least 30 to 40 hours a week. And so that's what I did. But if you look at it, okay, now I'm making $180 times 30. And so that was basically the math, because I knew that I was going to be working at least another 10, 15 hours on follow-ups and looking at labs and all these other types of things. So that allowed me to simply say, okay, I'm going to be making the income that I want to make. I'm going to help a lot of people. And again, I'm going to love what I do. So I just wanted to give you, that's again, on the Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast, we give you real world. This is really what happens in the real world. And I'm fortunate to be able to have gone through some high highs and some low lows and everything in between, and developing all sorts of different health coaching and health-based businesses. And I just want to be able to share that with you. So again, if there's any questions, we're always here for you. We're always able to help. But again, I would love to know what you feel comfortable charging. I really do. I want to know what everybody is charging. So if you could leave it in the comments below, right on Instagram, or you can feel free to leave this on YouTube as well, because we do daily videos. Let me know how much you're charging and what eventually you would like to charge for. And even if you don't answer this in the comments, although we'd love you to, please do feel free to think about this right now. What are you charging? What do you feel comfortable charging? What one day realistically would you like to charge? We'd probably all like to charge that $30,000 maybe. But at the same time, again, how can you bring the most value to your clients as well? I think you can't serve enough people, in my opinion, when you're charging that higher rate. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So again, let us know what you're charging right now, and ideally what you would like to charge one day. Hopefully this podcast was helpful. Really appreciate your support, and any reviews you can leave on iTunes or your favorite media player would be very much appreciated. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing day, and we'll talk with you on our next interview and show. Take care.